I like to stay in one piece.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Steve's Lion's Heart stance is very annoying. Let's see how Paul can deal with it. Here he is at +5 frames on block. The first option is a heat engager -9 on block for him. Can crush it but cannot interrupt. You can parry that, but that's not the solution. Can use that up back one, but the second option is a launcher. -13 on block. Can sidestep that, but we saw a mid-aiming before. Can somehow interrupt that, but cannot the first mid option. Yes, can parry that too. And can crush that too. But then he got this guard break without heat with +12 frames. That is high, but other two options were mid-side stepping, that is hard. Steve players use 2-2 after that. That is -14 on block if they miss, just remember. Now this is the problem. You cannot crush that. You cannot parry that. Some other solutions work, but that will not in the first two options. So you have to guess that guard break with slow animation. Or you can just compromise on that to avoid launcher with more damage. Here I tried to use forward 1+4 and see what happened to me. Or you can duck that high aiming. Mostly Steve players use this after running too. That's a risk, but what can we do? They are forcing us to guess. Other options where he goes to Lion Heart are mid to high. Can duck launch that. There are other options where he converts to that stance, but in this part I am focusing only on those mid to high options. But if you miss, he is at +3 there. Here you can use down back 1 on all three options. If he does not attack in this stance, he cannot block, can launch him. And when you try to duck launch those, he can transition into a counter hit mid launcher too, that is -8 on block. Can interrupt, but that is hard to do. And it tracks on both sides. When you try to attack after that mid-aiming option, that is -9 on block, they use that crusher there, that is very fast. Have to do jabs fast there. But that is high, you can duck that. Can sidestep, but it racks on one side. Grab is the best option, I will show you why later. I am using QCB 3-2-1 in matches. But it does not counter that. The reason is that when you catch their crusher, then they go for that side step 1-2. For Steve, sidestepping is just pressing one button. And during sidestep he goes to crouch too. High moves are not effective there. That's why I use QCB 3-2-1, it always works. But you have to be fast. High aimings does not work well. Because he can delay that side step and high aiming will whip. Mid aiming will work, but it will not if he does fast. That's why I use QCB 3-2-1, but that works well if he press buttons on time, ha 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 ha. QCB 1+2 is also effective here. As a matter of fact, QCB1 plus 2 works great on Steve cause he has so many high moves, and as it is -14 on block he cannot launch punish that. But it will not, and most of the options does not work on Crusher option. So what I found, using grabs can also work well on both options. But only aiming ones. But launcher is better than grab. Now if we talk about Paul's back sway stance moves against Steve, with this technique he can sidestep them all. Paul has no mid-aiming in his stance like Steve. QCB2 tracks on one side only. QCB1 plus 2 will not work. QCB3 2-1 tracks on this side from +3. But not on the other side. For that you should sway longer against him, let him do his shit and then kill him. What if Paul gets a guard break like Steve in stance? Or you can go for deep dive that will track him well. Best is to cancel sway and then punish his attacks. Overall, if we see Steve's stance is stronger than Paul, that show they balance characters. So that's for today. We'll discuss more Steve Fox shit in next parts. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.